You know what's hilarious about this week for Ubisoft? Every single time I sit down to record this video, I have to revise my notes and start over because something new happens. I've started this video like 4 different times, then I have to keep starting it over again. So originally, I was going to make this video about the news that the team behind Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, one of the best Ubisoft games of the last decade, has been disbanded by the publisher because the game didn't meet sales expectations. Gee, I wonder why. It definitely couldn't have had anything to do with the fact that it was priced at $50 and also didn't launch on Steam. Not to sound like the stereotypical, oh, Steam fixes all your problems, PC gamer, but also, Steam absolutely eats up games like this. Like, you made a 2D Metroidvania game with a legacy property attached to it, and you didn't launch it on the indie 2D Metroidvania platform? Like, what were you expecting your PC sales to look like? And I'm sorry, as good as this game is, $50 for a game like this, you can't get away with that unless you're Nintendo, apparently. But the team behind that Prince of Persia game has been disbanded, and apparently they're working on a Rayman remake now. Like, a bunch of the people who worked on this game are moving over to Rayman. So I can't wait to see how Ubisoft completely flubs that reboot and then shutters that team as well, but anyways. But once I sat down to make the video about that news, I then had to stop because I saw the news that the early access period for Assassin's Creed Shadows has been cancelled, which I can only attribute to the fact that Ubisoft is likely expecting very poor reception for this game, so they're going to try and keep it under wraps for as long as humanly possible. Like, this is just classic games industry strategy, and movie industry strategy for that matter. If you think your game is going to suck eggs and be received super poorly, and you want to get as many early adopters as possible because you know word of mouth is going to kill the amount of sales you are going to get beyond the first 3 days of sale, what you do is you hold on to raw gameplay for as long as you can in order to keep the negative word of mouth from spreading until it's absolutely necessary. So that's not a great sign of Ubisoft's confidence levels in this game, that the early access period is just gone. And I'll put money down right now on the review embargo for Assassin's Creed Shadows being like the day before the game comes out. I'll put money on it right now. You are not seeing reviews for this game more than like 48 hours before launch day. And even that I think is generous. Oh, but wait, there's more. After I sat down to record that video of those 2 pieces of news, I saw some more news. This time of Star Wars Outlaws going to Steam. Just 3 months after the launch of the game, which is frankly just pathetic because it's Ubisoft admitting that they knew there was a bigger buying base on the PC on Steam. You knew that your current PC strategy sucks, and you knew that you sell more copies of your games on Steam. And also, this confirms that there was nothing stopping you from launching there because you put it up on Steam at the drop of a hat, and yet you still didn't launch there. Ubisoft, you've done this to yourself. Oh, and by the way, through all of this, the Milan Ubisoft office is striking. So that's nice. Don't worry though, Ubisoft's stock is actually up 11% this month. Granted, it's down 42% on the year and down 71% over the last 5 years. But don't worry, guys, Ubisoft stock is currently worth roughly the same as a gallon of milk. What a wonderfully well-managed company this is. I've been getting a lot of mileage just dumping all over Ubisoft and enjoying myself in the process, and I can't help but continue to dump because I don't think I've seen a AAA publisher of this size completely destroy itself this quickly. I brought this up in my last Ubisoft video, but there was a point less than 5 years ago where Ubisoft stock was worth over $20 a share. We're down to like, what, $250? $260? How do you even accomplish that? How is that even possible? Why don't more people talk about this? That is a historic drop. I would also like to point out that in case you didn't watch my X-Defiant video a few videos ago, that this game, you know, Ubisoft's big zinger free-to-play Call of Duty competitor, is currently hosting some of the worst player counts I think I've ever seen from a PvP live service game. I also saw an official announcement of Skull and Bones DLC. Remember Skull and Bones? Well, the official announcement on Twitter got like 12 likes. Ubisoft got ratioed by Crab. So that's neat. And the reason I pick on Ubisoft so much is because I loved Ubisoft games when I was first really getting into gaming. When I first moved from sports games and party games over to like actual like games, like single player story driven games, a lot of the games that I was playing were Ubisoft games, like the original Splinter Cell games and like the Sands of Time trilogy. And like Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I was never super into the core Far Cry games, but I played the shit out of Blood Dragon. I played the shit out of the Scott Pilgrim game. I played the shit out of Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2, baby! I think the first game that I ever pre-ordered, like in my entire life, the first game I ever pre-ordered was Ghost Recon Future Soldier. Everybody point and laugh at me. But I can't even tell you how many hours I put into Advanced Warfighter 2. The multiplayer on that game, especially the local multiplayer, like the split screen against bots in that game, ooh, I loved that game so much. And the reason I pick on Ubisoft so much is because I don't know what happened to that company. I mentioned in the last Ubisoft video, but that like something happened in the last, I don't know, decade? Like something changed after Far Cry 3 or Far Cry 4, where you just decided that all you could make were open world sandboxes, and all your open world sandboxes had to follow the exact same formula. Why else would you turn Assassin's Creed into an open world grindathon? Why else would you turn Ghost Recon into a worse version of The Division? And I absolutely expect the Splinter Cell remake to be open world to some degree. Like when they inevitably bring Splinter Cell back, either with the remake or with the new installment, 100% there is an open world game in our future with that franchise. Because it's all that Ubisoft knows how to do. Oh, but Joe, they make some smaller scale stuff still. They're getting back in their groove. Like, remember Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown? Oh, yeah. That smaller scale game that Ubisoft clearly has so much faith in a follow-up on. Ubisoft is in such a weird position because they have absolutely no faith in their smaller scale projects, but at the same time, it seems like they have absolutely no faith in their big open world games either. So what do? Star Wars Outlaws was a huge flop, Skull and Bones was a flop, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, flop, Assassin's Creed Shadows, it seems like they're expecting to flop, so you would think now is the time for a pivot. But it seems like every time Ubisoft tries to pivot, they fuck it up somehow. X-Defiant was a fantastic pivot, but you fucked it up by having inexperienced people working on the team, and you littered the game with obvious problems that were never fixed, and now the game is on its way to a shutdown. You tried to pivot with some smaller scale Prince of Persia games that were really good, but then you also priced it way too fucking high and distributed it in a really fucking stupid way, so of course it didn't meet your sales expectations, which if we know Ubisoft, that means they are never taking that risk again. They've had a remake of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time in the works for close to a decade now, it seems. I don't think that game's ever coming out. There's allegedly a remake of Splinter Cell in the works. I sure would love to see it. I sure would love to lay eyeballs on that. Meanwhile, Ghost Recon is just dead. Rainbow Six games that aren't called Siege are just dead. The Division 3 is nowhere to be found. Assassin's Creed, I don't even know what's going on with Assassin's Creed. Shadows aside, I don't even know where they're supposed to go next. Like, have you heard the leaks about Assassin's Creed Hex? How it's going to be like a magic-based game? What? Who is this for? Who is this for? And even Assassin's Creed Mirage. I've heard Assassin's Creed Mirage is a step in the right direction, but it's not like it was a full step in that direction, and it's not even like Ubisoft's going to follow up on that step in the right direction. So what was the bloody point? Ubisoft has had an astronomically bad week, and I love watching it, but it's gotten to the point where the entertainment value of watching Ubisoft's downfall, like the entertainment is starting to fall away, and now I'm just starting to get confused, you know? Like, it was fun to watch, it was fun to see Ubisoft get their comeuppance, it was fun to see this arrogant company that told us PC gamers that Steam was bad, and also told the console gamers and the PC gamers that you guys gotta get used to not owning your games. And the company that threw away great franchises like Ghost Recon and Far Cry and Assassin's Creed in the name of just the same open world game over and over and over again. The company that got the opportunity to make an open world sandbox Star Wars game, and this is what they gave us. It is very satisfying to see that company completely fall apart. But at some point, things are supposed to stop falling apart. At some point, we're supposed to see a bit of a pivot, you know? We're supposed to see you start picking up the pieces, start shifting leadership, and start coming up with a new game plan, and start giving us a roadmap of what's coming, and start giving us at least some inkling that you understand what to do next. But with Ubisoft, We're not getting anywhere close to that. Things just keep getting worse. And it is baffling to me. Again, to the point that it's almost not even entertaining anymore. It's just confusing. I guess there's some confidence to take from the fact that absolutely anybody can succeed in AAA gaming, if Ubisoft is the example we're going by. You can be in charge of one of the biggest AAA game publishers in the world and completely run it into the ground, and there's just no consequence, I guess. Like, seriously, when was the last time there was a high-level firing at Ubisoft? I mean, has that ever happened? Has there ever been a high-level person at Ubisoft to get kicked out? I don't think so. But looking at this stock price over the last 5 years, you would think now is the time to get the kicking boots on. But Ubisoft, it seems, would disagree. And I find that fascinating. Ubisoft might actually be the first company in gaming history to make no dollars. None. No dollars. No dollars ever again for Ubisoft. I don't know if I really had a main point to make with this video. I just kind of wanted to share these chuckles with you guys. I just wanted to share the fact that Ubisoft has had probably the most comically bad week in AAA gaming history, and I just wanted to document it. I just wanted to giggle about it with you guys. So, yeah, Ubisoft sucks. Okay, toodles.